Hello, everybody.
Back again.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the leaked videos for April, I just want to give a shout out to Phil and his family. It's a new YouTube channel. He's an ex-elder, and oh my goodness, this family has been through hell. And, you know, we're so sorry for the loss of all your babies, and congratulations. We hope everything goes okay with the new pregnancy. And their YouTube channel is, excuse me if I get this wrong, Felici Delici?
We'll put a link down below to it.
Yeah.
One of the things that Kim and I found extremely disturbing with Phil's dialogue here and his experience is that after this couple had experienced multiple miscarriages, one of the elders absolutely had the nerve to tell him that maybe it was Jehovah causing this because you're not ready to have a family.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Jehovah didn't think you could take care of a child.
How effed up is that thinking? This is how Jehovah's Witnesses think, and this is what I keep preaching on this channel. What they tell you at the door, what they tell you face to face is different than what they say behind closed doors. And that's why this is absolutely great that men like Phil here will get out and do a video and make these statements so that the unawares public will become awares of what actually goes on behind the closed doors in the kingdom halls.
Well, it also tells me that this elder does not believe his own Bible, because doesn't it say a baby, a child, is a gift from God?
It's precious, and you know, David wrote, "Your eyes even saw the embryo of me." So now, as an elder, you're telling that God killed that embryo because you, as the parent, aren't ready to have a family? That's ludicrous.
Yeah. And, you know, especially when they were trying so hard, you know, to do what was right. He was an elder, you know, and all of this, and then this happens. And that's why we always say, you know, people most of the time have to have their own personal Armageddon.
Yeah.
You know, so just know that, you know, our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to you.
Welcome to YouTube.
Phil, you know, welcome to YouTube, and, you know, to your wife. And we send a hug, you know, in our love.
I'm looking at this as we're recording this. He's got on his video, he's got 5,398 views. He's got 326 likes and 20 dislikes. I'll almost bet that one of those dislikes is that knucklehead Daro. Oh, and by the way, didn't I call it? I said,
you're
wait
right
for it. And I found, now we haven't watched the video, but some of you have been sending us what he's been saying, and this guy absolutely has the audacity to claim that the apostates photoshopped Tony Morris's head, and but see, this is the disconnect that Jehovah's Witnesses live in.
Mental illness.
They will see it physically with their eyes. They'll hear Tony Morris's voice, and then they'll deny it. I mean, how disturbed is a man's mind when he can disavow what he sees and what he hears and blame someone else? That's just like the Jehovah's Witnesses hearing Jeffrey Jackson at the Australian Royal Commission then come up and say, well, this was actors hired by the apostates to make us look bad. Do you see the absolute lies that dwell in these people's minds?
Well, you were right, because that's what you said when we first did our Anthony Morris, you know, liquor run.
I said, wait for it.
Video. You knew that, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses and, you know, others were going to be saying this.
Because it's predictable behavior.
Yeah. Now, the thing is I'm really good at editing. There is no way I could edit a video with Anthony Morris inside a liquor store. You know, because even when you edit them on a green screen or whatever and put him in the liquor store, you know, and the voice, that means that you would have to go through from every talk he's ever done and got the wording for what he is saying. And there's going to be different tones and different volumes. That is impossible to do without there being some, fluctuation in the audio.
Yeah. But here again, you see it with your eyes, you hear it with your ears, and then you deny it. To me, that's insanity. That's being insane. That's the exact qualification definition of insane. My God.
Okay, so we got the leaked videos from April, and we're gonna play, this short video. This is the one where there's an elders meeting going on, deciding, the fate of a regular pioneer / elder.
Yeah, and stay tuned to the end of all of this, because we have some other things that we just kind of want to briefly mention.
Yeah.
We have one more pioneer to discuss. Jeff.
It's actually one of our elders, Chris Carpenter. He's 46 and has been pioneering for a little over 10 years. Of course, he's also a maintenance trainer for the LDC, which takes a considerable amount of his time each month. So his actual time in the ministry doesn't even come close to the 840 hours required of a pioneer.
I've heard some of the elders speaking about the same thing. They feel that he should make a decision. Either be a good pioneer, or else come off the list and stay with LDC. They were a little miffed that he and Jackie took a week's vacation when he could have used that time in the service.
It's good that we discuss it then. Our research may settle any conflict in the minds of our fellow elders.
Do I remember right, Steve, that May 15th letter addresses the very matter of a pioneer being involved in other theocratic assignments?
Right. It's under the section Special Consideration. Maybe Tony, would you please read paragraph 16?
Sure. Well, paragraph 16 says, in some situations, pioneers spend more hours in a month on theocratic projects than they can receive hour credit for. Later in the service year, they may need to take a vacation, spend time in secular work, or care for some other pressing issue that precludes their reaching the 70-hour goal for 1 or more months. They may thus fall short of the 840 hours for the service year. Now, that's Chris for sure. Then it says, the Congregation Service Committee should take into consideration all that such pioneers are doing in behalf of kingdom interests and grant special consideration to them. Then it says, a pioneer would not lose his privileges if he has worked extensively on theocratic projects. The elders, being aware of the pioneer's work to support kingdom interests, will offer warm commendation. How about that? We need to get a couple of other elders on the body to read this letter.
That's balanced. But didn't it say he did not reach the 70-hour requirement for 1 or so months? It doesn't sound like it should happen many months in the year. But Chris isn't out 70 hours a month for many months in the service year.
Well, looking at the numbers and the way it is worded, I don't think it was referring to 70 hours a month in field service. As you know, a local construction volunteer is permitted to credit a portion of his Kingdom Hall work towards his 840 hours for the year. He just cannot count more than a combined total of 70 hours a month. But the first sentence in the paragraph was acknowledging that these ones might spend more hours in a month on theocratic projects than they can receive hour credit for. So, unlike pioneers without an LDC assignment, Chris and others like him cannot work to get ahead on their time for a few months and still have time for vacation and have the 840 hours at the end of the year. So that's why when they do take a vacation or take care of other necessary matters, the letter says we are to show them consideration if they do not show 70 hours of combined service and LDC work for 1 or more months.
Can I see that paragraph?
Sure.
You're exactly right, Tony. At the end of the service year, the organization is not making any distinction between hours in the ministry and LDC hours. It's just that the LDC member has a cap of 70 hours a month, and he can't get ahead on his time like another pioneer might be able to. Interestingly, in paragraph 17, it also says special consideration should be granted to pioneers who fall short of the annual hour requirement if they serve on hospital liaison committees, patient visitation groups, disaster relief committees, or convention committees. This letter covers everything. If only I had read it more carefully.
Wow. Now, I know for a fact, because Mike was a regular pioneer, and he was a ministerial servant, and he was slaving for the congregation. I mean, our family almost broke up because of it, because he was slaving for the congregation so much that, you know, nothing was getting done at home. And when he finally had to come off the list after he had gone to pioneer school, the service overseer said, well, it's not like you were getting your time anyway. Now, this is from a service overseer that was a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Did nothing to help the other pioneers, you know. And he tells him, oh, well, it's not like you were getting your time anyway. No consideration for what Mike was doing, you know, in theocratic projects and stuff, and working and slaving for the organization. So it's interesting that Watchtower has now come out with this elder's letter of like, well, you know, if they're not getting their time, you know, they get special consideration. Why should they get special consideration when the rank and file pioneers usually do not?
Yes, but there's also something else in this clip, and I don't know if anybody really paid attention to it. Kim and I did, because it just screamed at me when the elders, well, let me just back up a little bit. It just really confirms that these guys and the Jehovah's Witnesses sitting in the kingdom halls don't think, they don't read with any understanding. They just read for the benefit of reading. For instance, several years ago, Watchtower did a 2-article series on the destruction of Jerusalem.
I believe that was 2011,
Yeah.
October and November.
Yeah, 587, 586. In the little footnote, Watchtower said that we're the only organization that believes that it was still destroyed at 607, or however they worded it in the footnote. But how many Jehovah's Witnesses really read that with any level of comprehension?
I know a
With
couple.
any level, yeah, exactly.
It woke 'em up.
It woke them up. But here's the thing. You witnessed that one elder hand the letter to the elder sitting off to his left, and he read it. He read it slow. He read it with comprehension and understanding. And then he hands it across the table to the other elder, and what did he confess? Well, I didn't catch that, or however.
I guess I didn't read it that carefully.
Yeah, exactly. And this is how they exercise control. Because I even remember being in the Wisconsin congregation when Watchtower was really pushing meeting for Saturday field service at your congregation book study. And the presiding overseer, Brother Viagratai, was saying, oh, no, we got to meet at the Kingdom Hall, But when he was handed that kingdom ministry with the direction of, the faithful and discreet slave, and was being told, you need to meet at the book studies on Saturday morning, Brother Viagratai handed that kingdom ministry back and said, that doesn't apply to us. Do you understand the control that these elders are grabbing for? You've got one guy in this particular video that claims, well, I guess I didn't read it that carefully. If he didn't read it that carefully, then how is he projecting the instructions from the faithful and discreet slave? See, this is what I keep getting at from time and time again. Watchtower is its own worst enemy. Because they'll put out videos like this thinking that they're encouraging, they're going to do the flock really good. This is going to help instruct the elders. Then they put it out public, and then we can grab this and say, hey guys, 42 years of this nonsense, I see exactly what's going on. They admit it themselves. They get all of these backroom instructions, and then they just believe whatever the hell they want to believe.
Or do what they want to do.
Or do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Personal Armageddon, you're your own worst enemy, Watchtower, so just please keep it coming, because what's really happening here, guys, is Watchtower is throwing so much crap at the wall, they hope something will eventually stick. And when they think it sticks, here comes the apostates with the spatula scraping it off the wall and just showing it's still just a bunch of crap.
Yeah. Now I'm going to put the link down below to these leaked videos for our leaked video channel on RooTube. Now I find it interesting. Don't be afraid to go to RooTube because, you know, just watching the videos, you know, you're not, you know, what's the word, corroborating with the Russians. But
Yeah.
I do find it ironic that, you know, I put these leaked videos on the Russian YouTube, and here are two videos on there that is going to be in the midweek meeting of no weapon will be formed against you, and they actually show scenes of the Russian government and military / police busting into kingdom halls. So how ironic is that if anyone from the Russian government watches these videos, it's right there in their own RooTube.
Well, see, here's another complete disconnect. See, they'll throw a scripture out of historical context where Jehovah says no weapon, you know, that's formed against you will be successful. But wait a minute, 587, 586. The Babylonian weapons were successful. In 70, the Maccabean Wars, they went through hell to regain control of that temple. Oh, wait a minute, you don't know about that. You know why? Because you're not supposed to read the missing books of the Bible. See, you're not supposed to read that because once you read that, then so many more things become apparent that they were grabbed out of historical context and put in the words of someone else, put in the mouth of someone else.
Okay, then 70 CE.
70 CE. Oh, that weapon was formed against you. You suffered destruction. And friends,
Dark Ages?
well, but don't forget Masada. See, you're forgetting about a 3.5 year, times and half of times that Daniel spoke about. You're forgetting about Masada. Do your historical research and recognize what has been taken out of historical context and tried to be applied in our modern day era. So there are weapons that were formed against those people, and they did die. Watchtower, you need to knock this crap off, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a modern day Jim Jones things. Whether that happens in the United States, whether it happens in Russia, it's going to happen because you people will not give it a rest.
Well, going back to Masada, as a kid, I can remember our family sitting down and watching a mini-series called Masada. Now, if you can find that old mini-series, great. It's really interesting, you know, of how all of this happened. And it shows that 70 CE was not the end of it.
No, it wasn't.
It went on for another 3.5 years.
And
then it ended ugly.
Real ugly. But yet, even up in Masada, they still formed a weapon. It was that ramp that went up. Come on, guys. Come on, Watchtower. Come on, Jehovah's Witnesses. We're not just spouting words like we don't know what we're talking about. Because we've done our history.
Yeah, we know some history.
Isn't it interesting that, you know, Jesus Christ in 33 CE predicts the fall of Jerusalem within that generation, but you also have to add the other 3.5 years of that war where it ended at Masada. That was in that 40-year generation.
And you know who it was that was up in Masada?
The Maccabean family. So go back and read the book of Maccabees and understand that throughout history you had all these Messianic Jews all the way through, go all the way back to the Maccabean family.
Yeah.
All you gotta, it's all there, friends. It's all there.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Now, I want to mention, you know, I want to thank everybody for your emails and comments and your research. So many of you, you know, sending research to us, and our source even sent us some research that we'll get into in a minute. But I want to mention that I'm getting a lot of emails. Some of you probably didn't see my last post on Facebook, and some of you do not know that I deleted all my Facebook accounts. And I do not have any Facebook. You know, no, you were not unfriended, you were not blocked, you were not deleted. I deleted myself from Facebook. So, you know, just know that it's not against you. You know, you did nothing wrong. And so you don't have to keep sending me emails asking, did you unfriend me? Did you block me? No, I did not.
Just got to be too much.
Yeah, it was just too much. And I've had a lot more time. And I'm just going to mention something real briefly here that we have been contacted by a journalist and a TV program in another country, and I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to jinx it. But they're working on a documentary about Watchtower and the child abuse problem, and so we're cooperating with the journalists and the people who are working on this documentary and giving them any information they want. If they want the whole Watchtower archives, I will gladly give it to them. I will give them any information they want. So we're asking for your thoughts and prayers, guys. You know, let's hope we can, you know, get this documentary, because this will be very damning, because it's in a country where the congregations are merging and closing like crazy. So let's hope.
Well, you know, the weapons formed against Watchtower.
Yeah, so let's hope and pray that this weapon of them hiding the child abuse
will
be used against them.
It's the weapon of free speech. It's the weapon of our voice.
And truth. This is truth. This is truth.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, regarding the last video that I did, Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, You're Worth More.
That was such a good video.
Guys, I'm really touched. Thank you so much for your love, your thanks for doing that video. I just want to read one comment that we received privately, because Kim and I have mentioned Darth Vader before. This is his wife now emailing us, and it's very short. Dear Mikey and Kim, hope you don't mind me emailing you. No, we don't. That's why we have watchtower.exposed, the contact button. She goes on, I just wanted to say thank you for such a beautiful video. XJWs, you are worth more. Lots and lots of love to you both. Thank you for being our friends. And thank you.
And I want to mention something. I'm going to tell a story about Mikey here.
You're going to make me look bad?
I'm going to embarrass you.
Okay, no, wait. One embarrassment deserves another one, so you better be prepared for the other one. For your embarrassment, is that okay?
Well, just remember, I'm the one that edits everything.
yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, wait.
So I'm going to tell a story on Mikey, and it's not embarrassing because many of you down below in the comments has talked about he's actually sensitive and very kind-hearted. You know, he may rant, and you may think he's crazy and upset. He's not. He's very sensitive and very tender-hearted. I'm going to tell you a story what happened. We finally got our roof fixed. They did it last week. It looks great. We have a steel metal roof that is rated up to 140 miles an hour and is guaranteed for 40 years. So, you know, it's great. But I want to tell you a little bit of story of what happened. Now, when we were first getting estimates from contractors, we had gotten an estimate from the roofing contractor that had done his boss's roof a couple of months ago. They were really high. They were higher than anybody else. And their secretary had called, and I said, well, we, you know, would like to go with you guys since you did his boss's roof, you know, but we've got more estimates coming in, and we're still, you know, negotiating with the insurance company. We're still, you know, doing that. So they sent us an estimate, they sent us a contract to sign, and she says, oh, you know, well, if you want to go, what color are you thinking about? Oh, you know, maybe desert tan, you know, and she says, oh, good, because that's the cheapest, you know, color. And so they were really pushing that color. It's like, okay, whatever. So they were so high, and the insurance company told us there is no way we can even consider this estimate and take it seriously. So we went with another contractor, another roofing company, and, you know, it was a done deal. You know, we said, okay, we want you guys to do it. And so we gave them the deposit to start on the roof. Well, the secretary or office girl calls from the first company and says, your materials are here. Can the crew come out and start your roof tomorrow?
It's like, what? You mean no signed contract and you purchased The roofing material?
We did not give them a deposit. We did not sign a contract. I did not positively say we wanted to go with them. They just assumed.
Yeah.
So it's
I felt
like,
bad.
what an idiot. Mike felt so bad. This is how tender-hearted he is. He felt so bad that this first company had bought the materials and it was sitting there waiting, and they were going to have to eat this because there's no way you can return it because your roof panels are cut to the exact length, you know, from the top peak down to the bottom edge. So they're cut to the exact size your roof needs. Okay? He actually called up our contractor and said, look, you know, this is what happened. If you call this first company, they've got the materials sitting there. Maybe you can work out with a deal. If they're going to use the same materials you are, you know, maybe you could buy them materials. And it was great the way it worked out because the first contractor showed up. Because we had told them, you know, that we had already hired, you know, and told them what company we had hired. So the first contractor goes to our contractor and says, look, you know, I've got the materials. Do you want to buy them? Deal was done, and because of that, because our contractor didn't have to order the materials, they were able to start on our roof the next day.
Well, there again, you kind of forgot just one little minute detail. I actually called the contractor that we hired and said, look, this is what happened.
I said that.
You might want to get a hold of them because I hate to see somebody lose out on that money. I would hate to see somebody have to eat that material. And so it kind of worked out really good because the first contractor who assumed didn't have to bury or, you know, have the burden of eating that roof material. So then, like Kim said, they got a hold of each other and then they worked out a mutual deal and nobody was out any money. And that's what made me feel really, really bad.
So anyway,
I hate to see people lose out of money like that because you're talking thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, it was thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just wanted to say that that's how Mikey is. You know, he's very sensitive, and he, you know, is very principled, you know, and has very high morals. So, anyway.
Okay, you ready for yours?
Okay.
Okay. In my video, Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, You Are Worth More, a large portion of what I was getting to has to do with, you know, claiming your own identity, finding out who you are, you know, getting back to some of the things that you may have missed out in your childhood, such as maybe learning a musical instrument or hobbies that you really wanted to do. Well, Kim has been doing her another little hobby among the other things that we do. She has gotten into soap making hand soap.
Thank you,
and
Bonnie.
things like that. So if you're interested in that video, go to our Lame Beaver Trading Company channel. We have a few videos on there. We're going to
I'll put a link below.
We're going to probably spend more time this summer building that channel up because it's really getting back to doing things yourself. You know, like with the historical reenactments I do. Hopefully, we can get that other video edited because it's 2-3 years in the making now.
Oh my goodness, it's like 3 hours long, and it's taken a lot of editing.
Yeah.
But it was when he was at one of his Mountain Man Rendezvous, and I want to mention that one of the videos already up on that channel is him tanning a deer hide, and it's really educational, and I'm not too embarrassed because, yes, I am making soap, and
Yes.
like I said, thank you, Bonnie. You know, she's my mentor and dear friend, and she has taught me so much, and I'm actually making natural soap now because I was actually starting to have problems with the chemicals in soap. And yes, they contain petroleum distillates. Even the ivory soap you think is pure that you're using, it's not. It contains chemicals, and I was starting to have rash problems.
So even a little thought of hobby, making your own soap, can turn into something that's very educational for you because, I mean, let's face it, we all use soap. When the proverbial poop hits the fan, you know, it might be a good trade item. Who knows? I mean, these are things that human beings are going to need. So if you can learn to do this stuff for yourself, then you become even less reliant on the man, the government, the godment, however you want to put it. So there again, learn to take control of your own life. Learn to to discover your own sovereignty. Learn
Do
these
things
things.
you enjoy.
Yes.
You know, and you know that's why that video was so good, you know, that Mikey did, because we are all worth so much more than these cults say we are. You know, oh, you're just a sinful human, you know, that
Yeah.
needs redemption.
Yeah.
No, we all have so much that we can contribute and
Exactly.
give. And I enjoy making soap so much that I'm sending it to friends. And I even took a box to the local
Yeah.
food bank and said, I know you guys deal mostly with food, but, you know, how many of these poor and homeless people need soap? Here's some soap.
Better to give than to receive, isn't it?
Yeah.
See? So now you can become a useful person in your community by even doing something like donating soap. The whole world is now open up to you. I mean, it was my childhood dream to be a rocket scientist, and I actually fulfilled that dream. You know those little Estes rockets that you put those engines and they go up and come, see, I'm a rocket scientist. If you guys buy that, I got a bridge to sell. Anyhow, we want to get back to thanking our source for this one.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. He happened to have watched our video where we mentioned
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton's connection to Watchtower and how she was, you know, basically helping them out with the government and their little, you know, human rights issue.
Yeah, so I kind of want to read right here what he put together. It says, I'll scratch my back. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Church has granted favors by Roman emperors / kings, land, exemption from taxes, immunity in courts, positions in courts, and in return the church would endorse kings and help secure their rule. Point number 2, kings look to church to supply educated administrators to help run kingdoms, and in return kings would enforce laws that prohibited other religions.
And that's happening even today,
Yes.
because the Russian Orthodox Church and the Russian government are like this, and that's why they're going after Jehovah's Witnesses, Scientology, Mormons, all these other small Western religions, because they want the Russian Orthodox to be the main state church.
And then this is what he writes on the next page.
The Watchtower Clinton Files.
Yep, the Watchtower Clinton Files. When the Clintons do favors for the Watchtower Society, then the Watchtower must return favor. How about free advertisement in the most read magazines in the world? Watchtower and Awake. And
There's a stack about this
yeah,
big.
you guys can, I don't know if the camera's really going to pick it up, but it's several pages of every Awake article, and perhaps, I don't see no Watchtower, but every Awake article, because we've got to remember, you know, as we were indoctrinated, you know, Watchtower keeps an eye on the religious thing, and the Awake keeps an eye on what's going on in the world. And there was mention of the Clintons, page after page, story after story. Anything that they could throw in the Clinton name, Watchtower did. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine.
I'll give an example here on the top page. The Awake, November 8th, 1993, page 19. Bill Clinton, the president then, at the Holocaust Museum. How fragile are the safeguards of civilization, said U.S. President Clinton at the museum's dedication. The Holocaust reminds us forever that knowledge divorced from values can only serve to deepen the human nightmare that a head without a heart is not humanity. Now, we know Watchtower had a big part in this Holocaust Museum, and they have a huge display with, you know, their purple triangle stuff. But I mean, like I said, it is just page after page after page. Oh, here's a 2000 Watchtower.
Bill Clinton giving that little speech right there.
Yeah, the 2000 Watchtower, June 15th. There's not a page, but it's Who Will End Violence. And quoted in the same Star report, U.S. Bill Clinton said, "After all the bloodshed of this century, we know it is easy to say never again, but much harder to make it so," he added, promising too much can be as cruel as caring too little. Now, how many quotes and advertisements for presidents have you ever seen in Watchtower literature? I mean, this is a lot for the Clintons.
So thank you for your diligent effort in bringing all of this to light, because there is a lot. A lot.
So thank you, sweetie. Appreciate
Yes.
everything you do for the XJW community.
Yes. And last but not least, let's see, actually, got two things actually. I want to thank the dear friend that sent us the information, because apparently he watched our video on Zoroastrianism. Have I got that correct, or am I in error of that?
I am not sure. See, I was looking for his name because he said what name to use. I'm sorry, sweetie.
So
My post-it note.
you know, Kim and I are always appreciative of the research that you guys do, that you send our way. Because I did a video a while back about the archangels and how that came from Babylon, Zoroastrianism, and then I'm assuming at this point, because I don't know for sure, but just the other day I've got this entire research material, and you can read the title right there.
He had asked for us to do a video.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't realize we had done the video about the angels and mentioned,
Yeah.
you know, we've actually mentioned Zoroastrianism and the
Because
God Mazda.
because the Israelites were not the only one to claim the identity of one God. We're only going to worship one God. You do your research, it dates back to the Egyptians and Akhenaten.
And the Aten.
Yeah, and the Aten. Do your
One God.
research. But this was
Zoroastrianism goes even before that.
Yeah.
You know, way back to the Persians and Babylonians.
But, you know, like I mentioned in that video, you talk to one faction, it's like, oh, no, we lay claim to worshiping one God. And then you talk to the other faction, oh, no, we can prove that we did it first. So here again, here's that entire religious, philosophical battle. But this was a very interesting read. Zoroastrianism, Judaism, and Christianity. They're all connected. Do your research. Okay, now.
The new May 2019 study Watchtower. Page 11.
Yes, paragraph 16 starts off by saying, when they learn that someone in the congregation is accused of child abuse, elders endeavor to comply with any secular laws about reporting the matter, and then they conduct a scriptural investigation. Scriptural? What about lawful? What about lawful, Watchtower? No. See, that's one of those little play on words. See, the Jehovah Witness sitting in that Kingdom Hall is not reading this with any comprehension because, well, we all know.
Oh, the elders work with the authorities and try to get this taken care of.
Yeah, even today's young people are not reading with any level of comprehension. If the individual denies the accusation, the elders consider the testimony of witnesses.
No, they don't.
No, because there are no witnesses to child sexual abuse. It's all done in a dark room, a closet, wherever, without any witnesses. Get a grip, Watchtower.
But at least they tell the truth that...
Yeah, if at least two people, the one making the accusation and someone else who can verify this act or other acts of child abuse. You mean, say a young girl gets raped, sexually abused, she goes to the doctor, and that little test is done. Are you going to take the doctor's word for this? Oh, no, because see, that doctor's out to get Watchtower. Right.
Well, I was going to mention, when we were first leaving Watchtower, there was a case that we knew of. There was, I believe he was a 9-year-old boy that was sodomized, raped by an elder. He was taken by the doctor and it was proven. They took the little boy in the room by himself, never called the mom, wouldn't let anyone else in there with him and convinced him to shut up and keep it quiet. So think about that when Mike's reading this next part.
Okay, so it goes on. Child abuse by the accused, establish the charge. A judicial committee is formed. Now here comes a
Asterisk.
watchtower change of protocol, change of the way they do things. The asterisk says, a child is never... Now I want you Jehovah's Witnesses to pay attention, because this is how you read and understand with comprehension. A child is never required. So don't let these elders tell you, oh, we got to talk to your child before we can establish facts. No, 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 no. This is policy change. See, Kim and I are reading this with absolute comprehension and understanding. A child is never required to confront an alleged abuser. A parent or other trusted confidant may advise the elders of the allegation without exposing the child to further emotional harm. Protect your children.
Now try to explain this to the mom that we were in contact with back in 2012 and her son, of what he had to go through by himself before 3 elders without any parent there to comfort him and help him through this, and even telling them what happened, and then to be told not to talk about this, that you would bring reproach on Jehovah's name in the congregation, and to protect the pedophile. Tell that family about this, that you've changed your policy. And how many Jehovah's Witnesses now are going to read this footnote and say, oh, a change in policy? My kid doesn't have to talk to the elders now. In fact, the parents don't even have to talk to the elders.
No, because see what's going to happen is you're going to get some jackass elder that doesn't read with comprehension and say, oh, that doesn't apply to us. See, that doesn't apply. Do you Jehovah's Witnesses, you really need to begin to understand that what is going on here is a corporate. This is not a religious thing. This is a corporate mandate. This is the corporation talking to you. This is not the religion talking to you. Comprehend what's being stated right now. It's a corporation making corporate policies.
This article alone should tell every Jehovah Witness that there is a child abuse problem. And like someone has said, it's not those filthy apostates lying. This article alone should tell you there is a problem and that they've had to change some things, but it's good. It's good that they're changing this, but it's not good enough.
Well, here's the other thing. Darrow out there is going to read this and say, oh, Mike and Kim got it all wrong. That's not what that means. It's in your eyes, you can hear it, but you'll deny it.
Yeah. Well, here at the end of paragraph 16, I find this interesting. The elders provide ongoing support to any individuals who may have been hurt. Not in our experience, not
No.
what we're hearing. In addition, the elders remain alert regarding the alleged abuser to protect the congregation from potential danger. So does this mean they're suddenly going to start warning parents in a congregation that has a pedophile? I haven't heard any change in that policy.
Well,
No, they're not.
they're not going to do it. They are not going to announce publicly somebody's name, so-and-so, is a potential pedophile, because you're going to get your asses sued. That's defamation. You will get your asses sued. That could even be slanderous. So Watchtower is never good. Here again, you see it, you hear it, but it's not going to ever be applied. It's never going to be applied. But the alert Jehovah Witness that reads with any sense of comprehension is going to understand that there is a pedophile problem in your organization, a child sexual abuse problem in your organization.
See, and this is not going to change, how the elders handle anything because, they know better. They still do things their way.
Us.
I want to mention in paragraph 17 here. What is the role of the Judicial Committee? The term judicial does not mean that the elders judge.
Since when?
Yeah, it does.
Since when?
We were judged on hearsay. Or rule on whether the abuser should be punished by authorities for breaking the law. But they don't call it the authorities. The elders do not interfere with law enforcement. They leave criminal matters to the secular authorities. So they don't contact the authorities that we're aware of. They still try to hide it. And what about that elders letter back in, what was it, 1998, 1989, back in the early 2000s? I don't remember exactly, that elders letter that said there's a time to keep quiet, a time to be silent. Don't offer any more information to secular authorities investigating this than you absolutely have to.
See, and here's the disconnect. They're writing this article hoping that it'll stick to the wall until the apostates come along with the spatula, okay? This is why the Watchtower, Jehovah's Witnesses, your local congregations will not report this to the authorities, despite what this paragraph says. Because what's going to happen is a investigative reporter, or maybe an apostate somewhere with a spatula, is going to be reading the crime reports, and then guess what? It becomes public knowledge that in such and such congregation, so-and-so is accused of child molestation. It'll make the newspapers. That's why these guys will still keep this quiet, despite what an article like this says.
But we happen to know a couple elders we've talked to, still current elders who still do judicial committees. They are going to call the authorities and report any child abuse. And one has even told his body of elders that. So $5 that the elder body is not going to appoint him in a judicial committee for a child abuse because they know he's going to call him.
They know he'll
They're
report
probably
it.
not even going to tell him about this. He may even be removed. But I am glad to see these elders, especially after this article, standing up and saying, no, that's not what you're saying in your magazine.
Right.
That's not what you're telling the rank and file.
Read with comprehension.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't have the Elders Manual, the new Elders Manual yet, go to jwleaks.org and they've got the PDF of the new Elders Manual there. And there's a whole chapter now on child abuse and handle it. And do they say contact the authorities? No. It says call the legal department at Watchtower.
Yep.
So they haven't changed a darn thing.
Okay. I think that wraps this up, doesn't it?
Yeah, because our battery's going dead. So thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for your comments, and you all take care. We love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.